Hello, all right, welcome to the debate. We have Mr. Mitchell or Mitt versus Mr. Crosby or Crossbama. Way to pick a favorite there, very subtle about favorites. Okay, well, let's just get right down to it and introduce our moderators. We have the co-presidents of the JSA. I'm going to introduce them individually. First off, we have the very charming Timothy Kang here. Go ahead and stand up. Yes, please do that. And a nice red tie. And then we have the ever-fashionable Yegina Whang. All right. Lovely. Well, let's get right down to it. I'm going to leave the mic with the moderators and go past those boards of people. All right. You enjoy.
Hi, guys. Welcome, everyone, to the first Van Nuys presidential debate of the year. As many of you are aware, the 2012 presidential elections will take place next month. And the results of this year's elections will affect us all, as not only high school students, but also as future functioning members of the society. An important part of the elections leading up to the voting day will be the presidential and vice presidential debates. Student government and JSA will be hosting several debates this month that model these.
Today's debate is based on the first presidential debate, which covered a variety of topics, ranging from economy to healthcare. The speakers on the Republican side will be Mr. Mitchell as Republican nominee Mitt Romney, and Kevin Kistler, and don't forget him, Kevin Kistler as Congressman Paul Ryan. The speakers on the Democratic side will be Mr. Crosby as and Mary Perez as Vice President Biden. Each speaker will be given a specific amount of time to answer each question in a manner similar to that of Governor Romney and President Obama, respectively. Please give your undivided attention to the speaker and please refrain from making unnecessary comments or sounds during the debate. We will now begin. The first question is, what are your exact plans for education, and how do you plan on reforming the education budget? 1 minute for each speaker, and we will begin with you, Vice President Biden.
Okay, I'd like to begin by thanking JSA and ASB for organizing this debate. And in 1970, U.S. had the world's highest rate of high school and college graduation rates. Now it has slipped to number 21 in high school completion worldwide. Other countries have surpassed the U.S. in the quality of their primary and secondary education. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, there is a 30% dropout rate. Race to the Top Challenge provides an incentive for teachers to boost their performance and increase student state scores by providing acceptable standards and guidelines to reach and surpass.
10 seconds.
Okay. This program promotes higher graduation rates, which will be more expensive, but in the long run will lower the deficit which we are facing.
Time. And we will now move on to a minute for Congressman Ryan.
Okay, so my plan is to fix the current plan. Okay, right now, the government funds LUSD about $10,000 per each one of you guys, each student, all you guys. Each one of you gets $10,000 each. Okay, and from there, the LUSD funds the rest of the schools. Now look, that's our tax money, and now they're demanding more. That's silly. I think it's because they're not managing the money properly. Okay, what would I tell you that some of these elite private schools, they do better for less. Bishop Alemany, they charge under $9,000. LA Baptist, they charge under $8,000. So we're running a failing system. Okay, I think we should run the local level, just like them. Let the school run, not DC. DC doesn't know what to do. The school, the people here know how to run the school better than people at DC. The schools know best. Let the charge them private students. They have their own fundraisers. They have their own extra money, and they're always improving. Not cutting education. I'm just making it more efficient.
Time.
And now we'll move on to a minute for Mr. President.
Just a small point of fact. The federal government, which I happen to run, does not fund
education in LA Unified. The state of California funds education. That has absolutely nothing to do with what we're about to talk about. We want to increase student participation. We want to increase our ability to score well on tests at science throughout the United States, throughout the world. We need to implement reform which keeps students the focal point of our mission. They have to do well to compete in a growing society, a more very, very difficult society that you guys are about to go into. You need to focus, you need to get the best possible education you can, and this administration is going to provide the money to the states that they can help you succeed.
And now for the final speaker, Governor Romney, 1 minute.
Thank you very much. He seems pretty popular here. They like that guy. Well, with that in mind, I'm going to compliment him, not just to get favor with you. I think President Obama's done a pretty good job with education. I'm not going to ask you to clap because you want to clap for him already. But basically, what he's done is something called Race to the Top. Here's our philosophy, Congressman Ryan and myself. We believe in competition. Okay, we believe competition is good. I was walking around this school, it seems like we have some pretty good students here, and then I found out you have a magnet here, or some kind of magnet thing. And apparently with a magnet, you don't really have to go here. You choose to go here. So at this fine school with all these great students, it strikes me you have a little bit of competition, and that's what I'd like to bring to the whole country. By the way, from the commercials, you probably think I have horns on my head and hate children. I actually will not cut education at all. We just want to make it more efficient. So we would maybe open more charter schools. We have something called the voucher program, which would give your parents basically $9,000. They could spend it wherever they want. Thank you very much.
So we will now be moving on to the next question, which deals with the economy. And how much do you plan on giving in tax breaks to corporations and small businesses? Also, how will you recover from further adding on to the deficit? We will start with Congressman Ryan. You'll have 1.5 minutes.
Okay, we can agree that we're in a mind-blowing debt situation. Okay, to fix that, we're going to either increase revenue or cut spending. Now, my opponent, they want to increase taxes, especially on the rich businessmen. Because look, they have more than they need, right? No, look, we cannot just rely on them. It's temporary. That's temporary revenue. It's not that simple. If you keep taxing, they leave. They have loopholes, they renounce their citizenship, and they hide the money. Okay, we're supposed to make them feel comfortable reinvesting. Don't take away that incentive to grow. Okay, if you lose jobs and you lose potential jobs and you slow down the economy even further. Okay, the scenario, you have Joe, small landscaping business owner. Okay, he's a taxpayer. He has probably a house and has 2 employees. Look, if you just tax it, so then just because you help someone else who's on welfare and needs the help, it won't solve the problem. Because now he might just lay off some of his workers, his 2 workers. Now you just triple the problem. Now you have the person that's on welfare. Now you have worker A. Now you have worker B. Now what you do? Now you just screw the problem even further. What you have to do is have the businesses grow, so you hire more people that's on welfare. Then those people will help more people that's on welfare. It's that simple.
Vice President, you have 1.5 minutes.
First of all, what Obama is trying to do is not increase the taxes for everyone. He's trying to freeze the tax break that Bush implemented in 2004. Obama wants to return to the tax rates that Bill Clinton established in incomes for over $250,000. So it will not affect any of you. It will only affect those wealthy that are able to pay these tax rates. Not only to rid us of our deficit, but will create millions of jobs dedicated to lowering that deficit. What Obama seeks is called a progressive tax, which means that the rate of taxation increases with income. If you have a jet, then most likely you can pay the tax rates that they're implementing. This type of payroll tax has been implemented due to the higher ability of the wealthier to pay taxes. The tax increase doesn't even come close to hurting the pockets as it would to lower incomes had we had a flat income tax rate. What private institutions are interested in the short-term corporate profits that however, a tax increase will not be imposed for the 97% of those small businesses which create jobs and boost American production.
We will now move on to Governor Romney.
Do you mind repeating the question?
Yeah, sure. How much do you plan on giving in tax breaks to corporations and small businesses? Also, how will you recover from further adding on to the deficit?
Okay. All right, this is a big one here, and it's really important. And a theme you're going to notice here is their ideas sound good, but they don't work that well. For example, it sounds good to just tax the rich, but there's consequences to it. Here's what I would do. Basically, I would give corporations a tax break. Now, why would I do this? To help my rich buddies? No. They're rich already, they don't need my help. Believe it or not, the reason I would lower the corporate taxes, what that would do, we have one of the highest corporate taxes in the world. Now, pretend you're a corporation. What they do is they leave. I want to get corporations back here to hire workers so your mom and dad can get a job. So yes, I would lower the corporate tax, so we would lose revenue there, but we would gain much more revenue in the additional taxpayers that come back with those jobs. That's corporations. By the way, President Obama agrees with me on that. He would also lower the corporate tax. Small businesses, this is tricky. Yes, the top 3% of people are wealthy, but here's the thing. I'm not trying to help rich people. When you tax that top 3%, that top 3% provides 54% of the jobs in America. Small businesses provide 54% of the jobs. So, here's my deal. I'm not trying to help the rich. When I don't want to tax the rich, it's not to help rich buddies, because it's just not. It's to create jobs. And the big problem facing this country right now is jobs. Unemployment is high, the deficit is huge, economic growth is very, very slow. Things are not going well. There's only 3 ways out of this mess. You can tax your way out of it, that's what they want to do. You can cut spending, which would be very difficult, or you can grow the economy. Here's the final point. We're going to grow our way out of the economy.
Thank you. We'll now hand it over to President Obama.
Okay, that's a nice fairy tale. The whole concept of cutting taxes for the rich in order to grow the economy doesn't happen. It's called trickle down. We tried it in the 1920s, didn't work so well. It's called the Great Depression. So that whole concept, not so good. We agree that the middle class and working class, for the most part, should not be taxed more. Their tax rates should remain the same as they are now. Where we disagree is we want to tax those people making over $250,000 a year a little bit more. And it's not much more than they paid 8 years ago, because that's when the tax rates came into effect. The first George Bush tax cuts, 2001, 2003. They're just going back to where they were in 2001. So this is not a big, huge tax increase for our wealthy patrons. And don't feel sorry for the rich, I'm sorry. Just to give you a little hint here, something called unequal distribution of wealth. Those top 10% we're talking about, they make 80% of the money in the United States. What that means in English is that if all you were, I'm going to give this whole room $100. This side over here, from the den over, you'd get 80 of those dollars. You guys over here, you'd get 20. Who are we going to tax? You going to tax you? You lazy 47%? Who don't work? Who don't pay taxes? Tax them.
Thank you both speakers, and now we will move on to the third question. The third question is, what will be your policy for healthcare? 1 minute, and we will begin with Vice President Biden.
Okay, healthcare is a national issue. It is not a state-by-state issue, as Romney would agree with. 1/3 of Americans don't have healthcare. doctors like to test for anything and everything. So these little procedures cost a big amount of money, and if you don't have help, let's say you guys don't have insurance, and you go to a hospital for an emergency, and you don't have the money to come up with to pay for the procedure that you got. So you will need, everyone that is under that insurance plan will have to pay for that person who just went to the emergency room because he cut off the camera or something. Okay, Romney's vouchers don't account for the increase in health premiums, and they do not account for the rate of inflation. So a $5,000 increase voucher does not account for a $20,000 procedure, which is what it will cost. Thank you.
And now a minute for Governor Romney.
By the way, I gotta go back. He shredded me on that last answer, so I did a little quick comeback. As far as the taxation issue on the rich, just a couple of things. The most revenue that ever came into the United States government was the year of 2007, when George Bush was president, with a tax cut. How could that be? Because when you cut taxes, sometimes you stimulate the economy. Also, Reagan cut taxes, revenues went up, and get ready for this, buckle your seatbelt. JFK, a Democrat, cut tax rates, revenues skyrocketed. But, go ahead, Mr. President.
President Obama, please control yourself. President Obama, please go back to the podium. Thank you for that comment.
President Obama definitely woke up for this debate. Okay. Back to healthcare. I'll be real quick. Once again, it's going to sound bad what I'm going to say because free healthcare sounds really good, but here's what's bad about it. The problem with healthcare is cost. Obamacare is really, really expensive. So I would repeal it, and here's why it's too expensive. It's a new tax. It takes $700 billion out of Medicare for a new entitlement. You might lose your insurance, and it has a board of 15 unelected people deciding your fate. Is that what you want? I prefer private competition, private enterprise.
Time. And now we will move on to a minute for Mr. President.
Okay, that is only a little bit of BS in that. First piece is that the $760 billion is over 10 years, not one. Two, it is also negotiated with the private insurers so they take less money for Medicare patients. So it doesn't hurt a Medicare patient at all. Not only that, but we have fixed Medicare to solve what's known as the donut hole. We have grandparents who get medication. There's a certain amount of money they make, they don't get their prescriptions paid for. Part of this $760 million is to pay for that prescription coverage. So seniors like it. Okay? Next thing about healthcare. Healthcare is going to kill this country by 2050. 80% of our budget is going to go to healthcare. We need to do something to fix healthcare now. You can't just sit around and wait for it to fix itself. What's going to happen under Obamacare is we are going to charge all of you, you're all going to be members of the pool to buy insurance. If there's more members than a pool, what happens to the price? Goes down. That's what's going to happen in Obamacare. Insurance premiums will go down. That will make it a lot easier for our healthcare needs in the future.
And now we will move on to the last speaker, Congressman Ryan, 1 minute.
Go.
First, I would love to give free healthcare. Okay, I would love to. But the sad truth is, nothing is free. Okay, just like lunches. Okay, don't we have free lunches? No, we pay for them. Okay, and we're not even getting our money's worth. I already said before, 10,000. Fine, not fed up with state government. Okay, we're getting 10,000 each one of us. Okay, it's not just the cost. Okay, you're not gonna have choice. Okay, a lot of people don't even seem to like what they get. Okay, but look, if you want it, you get the food, you eat it. No, too bad. Okay,